Hey, School Zone podcast audience. Matt coming at you from here in Central Texas, Stephenville. It's a beautiful sunny day here in the 90s. I've got, I think, my first New Yorker maybe actually on the line for the show, actually in Manhattan, Nathan Spevack of Edco. Nathan, thanks for being here, man.
Yeah, Matt, my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
How are things there in New York? Is it warming up?
We're having an uncharacteristically cool June, kind of overcast and sort of a heavy mist today. So I guess feeling a little bit more like Seattle or maybe London than New York in June.
Send some of that our way, man. I wouldn't mind some of that for a day or two.
Yeah, is it hot there?
Yeah, it's been up to the hundreds already in the last couple of weeks, believe it or not. So it's going to be an interesting summer. So, hey, let's talk about start off talking a little bit about you and what has you in this school fundraising space, what got you here, and then we'll talk more specifically about Edco and what you guys do to help schools raise money around the country.
Sure. So I graduated from college probably at the best time, 2008, and shortly thereafter realized I needed to differentiate myself from my peers. And so I decided to go back to school and get a master's in education, actually following in my older brother's footsteps, who did Teach for America. So I went, applied to grad school, very fortunate to be accepted at Bank Street College of Education. Those familiar with the geography of Manhattan, that's on the Upper West Side, the Morningside Heights, I guess, and got my master's in early childhood and childhood general education there. I spent about 5 years after that teaching pre-K, second grade, fifth grade, sixth grade. So I had a number of different experiences in the classroom and also with homeschooling. And as that process was unfolding, I just kind of found that I didn't feel like I was having the impact I really wanted. So I was kind of brainstorming some different ways that I could have a bigger impact. And what I came up with was moving into the ed tech space. So I did a bunch of research. I ended up moving to a company called Schoology. I don't know if you're familiar with them. Mm-hmm. It's a learning management system, but that was a great company that I signed up with. Really happy to have that experience. And that kind of got my feet wet in the ed tech scene in New York. And, I worked there for a little while and then moved over here to Edco. And now I'm the manager of strategic partnerships here.
So I think it's got to obviously be valuable that you got that prior educational experience and not just, a sales guy or just a corporate guy that just happened to get another career, that happened to be at Edco, right? Just to have that background, I'm sure that's invaluable with some of the stuff you're doing.
Yeah, I think that when I talk with our users and when I talk with potential business partners and our current partners, I think they get a real feeling of security knowing that I've been through what they're going through. Like I've been involved in fundraisers. I've run them. I've been part of them when I was a student. So like I understand that whole process from the inside out. And I also understand the process of taking that on when you have a full load already as a teacher. When you're a second grade teacher, right? And you're responsible for 30 kids and all the learning that they're going to do that year. And then to say, oh, by the way, you also have to run 3 fundraisers for the extracurricular club that you're doing. That's a huge, huge load to take on. And to have someone there that really gets it because they've been there and done that, I think really helps people connect with me and helps me connect with them.
Awesome. So tell us some more about Edco itself. What do you guys specialize in? What is it that you guys do that really provides value to our listeners out there potentially as far as their school fundraising needs?
Yeah, so we're an online fundraising platform for K-12 education, and there's a lot of things that are really unique about it. We started in 2014. Basically, the original idea was let's put together an education gift registry for a big box store. So some big office supply store. We're going to let teachers literally register for items with you, and then we can help them fundraise, and then the big box store can give them a discount, and everyone's a winner, right? Teachers get what they need. We're helping people raise money, which is part of our social mission. The big box store gets money from them spending the funds raised at the big box store, and everyone's a hero, right? Because they're giving teachers a discount. So that was the original idea. Unfortunately, the big box stores, regardless of the data that we showed them, they weren't really very interested. So we decided to go ahead and build the platform ourselves anyway. So the thing I think that makes us really different from other crowdfunding platforms out there, things like GoFundMe, for example, is not just our focus on K-12 education, but the fact that, as far as I'm aware, we're really the only company out there that's focused on your long-term sustainable fundraising, as opposed to here's a one-off fundraiser that you can run, or here's a fundraiser that you can run this year. You can also run it next year, but you're going to start from scratch again. And so we have some different tools that I can talk about a little bit more later, but the idea being that the hardest fundraiser with Edco is the first one. It's just getting started, but every single one after that is going to be easier and should be more successful.
So talk about that, because to my knowledge, nobody that I've ever talked to anyway kind of positions themselves in that way. Though some of them are online and in theory could continue on in perpetuity, but talk about it, because it's obviously part of your guys' strategy and what you do.
Sure. So basically what we allow teachers, schools, after school clubs, right, anyone connected to and involved in K-12 education, what we allow them to do is create a fundraising page where they can accept tax-deductible donations in under 5 minutes. And then once they have that, part of our process is to make fundraising a team sport. So the idea being that, again, I'm kind of going to use GoFundMe, let's say, as an example, because I know so many teachers specifically use it. I'm constantly surprised at how many teachers I talk to, and they're like, yeah, we never heard of you, but GoFundMe, that's what we've been using. Do you really want your education fundraiser on the same site that someone's raising money for their medication or, lawyer's fees or something like that? Like, it's just not built for you. But the idea is that people can create the site very quickly and easily, and then they can ask people to join their fundraising team. So this can be students, this can be parents, this can be other educators, really anybody that's got a vested interest in helping the team or school or classroom fundraise, they can become team members. Once you have your team member core, right, and we'd say, like, optimally, we'd say you want to have at least 10 people on your team, and that's because it really increases your reach. But the idea being that you have your team of fundraisers, and each team member is going to submit contacts of potential donors. So, and that includes the person that created the page. So if you, let's say, have 10 team members and each of you submit 20 contacts of potential donors, and that's just name and email address. We're not asking for their home address or anything like that. You submit that information. It's stored on Edco. And then you have the ability to email everyone from Edco and say, hey, here's a link, click this link, check out our page, which has information about us, donate, share it on social media. And like, that's the basic idea. What makes us different though, right, about long-term fundraising is that if you have a 30-day fundraiser with us, at day 31, your page doesn't disappear. So what'll happen is your active fundraiser will morph into what I think of as an inactive page, but it is still, you do still have the ability to accept donations even if you're not running an active fundraiser. And then all that contact information that you put in for the first fundraiser, you have that stored on the platform. And we never like sell that information. We don't market to them or anything like that. So if you set up a fundraiser, let's say, I mean, we're kind of at the end of the school year right now, but let's say you're planning your next fundraiser for September, you know, you're going to kick off the school year. What you can do is enter in all that information, and then come December, which is another great time to fundraise because it's the end of the fiscal year, right? People can then go create another fundraiser in 2 minutes, and then they already have all those contacts loaded up, and you can keep adding to them over time. So this is like something that drives me nuts. Think about how many alumni associations there are for K-12, right? Not many. Very, very few, as a matter of fact. Much, 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 much bigger in higher education, right? I get emails all the time from Bank Street, right? They email me all the time. I went to Muhlenberg College. They email me all the time. They're always wanting to engage with me. They want me to come to events. They want me to donate. That never happens. I never once in my whole life have gotten an email from Smithtown High School on Long Island where I went. Never once have I gotten an email saying, hey, you were on the marine science team and we're trying to expand that program. Please donate $5, right? This is a way for a school or a team or a classroom to have a development office in a box, right? They come on Edco, they can say, okay, I have 30 classroom students. That's 60, potentially 60 classroom parents, right? If I can hang on to 10 of those 60 parents for the next year, and 10 of them give me money every year, and I can have that same metric every year, in 10 years, I'm not doing fundraising anymore. I'm just sending out one email, and boom, I have all the funds I need for the whole year. You can do some really amazing things like that. So the idea is not just to talk to the people that you know, it's to grow over time. And then of course, there's the things that you can do. You can do whether or not you have a fundraising platform. Like you can reach out to small businesses, right? You can say, hey, you're a local pizzeria. Would you like to help our classroom? Like all of our kids and parents, they love to go to your pizzeria. And you can even cut a deal with them and say, look, if you give us X dollars and a 10% coupon, we'll send that out to all of the parents. And that way you'll recoup the business that you're, losing, quote unquote, in donating money to our classroom. And that way it's not just good publicity for them, but it's smart business.
So let's say we've got an elementary school that's got 500 kids. How does that work? I mean, are they literally uploading the contact information for all the parents in that school, or are they just looking for people who voluntarily want to be a part of that team to help promote? Is there any social media ability to where kids have a page and they can tell grandpa and grandma and everything? I mean, how does that kind of stuff work? Or is that functionality a part of the platform?
That's a good question. So I think a lot of it depends on the school. Different schools, different counties, different districts have different regulations on what's allowable. So what I would say is, one way to do it would be you have one page for the school and you assign an administrator for that page. And the most effective thing, and we see this over and over with every fundraiser, is people want to know exactly where their money is going, right? It's like gone are the days where someone just writes a check and says, yep, just to support the school. Like that doesn't happen anymore. People want to know exactly what the money's going toward. So you can, on your page for the whole school with whoever the one administrator is, be specific about why are you raising money right now, okay? Some people are going to want to donate to the science program or to buy new laptops or to benefit the art program. Other people won't care about that. Other people are going to care about the music program, right? Or the English department. So you have to be very specific. When a school decides to use us, right, they really have full control over exactly how they want to use us. So they could have the one page like I'm talking about. And in terms of uploading contacts, there's a number of ways to do it. You could potentially have a team, right, a fundraising team of 500 students where all the students sign up using their name and email. And then each one of them can submit contacts. That could be one way you do it. They can do it by inputting the contacts one at a time, or we also have CSV functionality. So they can just have the list of contacts in a CSV file, which is very, very simple. We have instructions on the platform as to how to put that together. But they can upload contacts that way. Alternatively, if you are the administrator of this page, and let's say you work in the main office, you may already have a book. I was going to say a book of business. It's not a book of business, but like a contact list, right? You may have alumni information. I hope you have all the parent contact information, so you can orchestrate this. And I would be happy to work with any school that is looking to do this or wants something a little bit more customized. So that's just one way to do it. We had a school out in near San Diego, Jonas Salk Elementary School. We were working with them, and the way they did it was really interesting. Instead of doing one page for the whole school, they have 28 classrooms. They made 28 separate pages, and each classroom was its own page, and they ran an internal fundraising competition. So, hey, Mrs. Smith's classroom has raised $1,000. What about Mr. Johnson's classroom? Like they're at 800. Let's see if we can get that up to 1,100. And then they happen to offer some prizes for different things to incentivize both students and parents to submit contacts, to donate, to share on social media. But it doesn't have to be that way, because I think one of the premises of Edco is that people aren't necessarily interested in products when you're fundraising, right? People are going to give because they care about the person that they know that's involved and connected, or they care about the cause itself. And it's kind of just that simple. Like I feel like a lot of times people, they don't want the cheese, or they don't want the cookie dough, or they don't want the chocolate, right? But because we've all grown up doing those fundraisers, right, in sort of a pre-internet era, now that there's this online fundraising thing, people are still stuck in the ways that they used to be doing it, when there may be kind of an easier, lower time investment, lower hassle kind of way that gets them equal or greater results, or at the very least can be an add-on to what they're already doing. And I want to be very clear about this, in no way am I bashing product sales for fundraising. That's still predominantly the mode of most school fundraisers. Of course, we're trying to change that, but there's nothing wrong with doing that. And anything that's going to help a school or classroom or club raise money that's going to benefit kids, we're 100% behind that. Like that's great. So we just think that if you have an online component, there's a lot of advantages to that, and it could replace that product sales, but it doesn't have to. It can be in conjunction with it.
So is there a way for me, as an example, with my smartphone, I'm one of the members of the team. Is there a way for me to utilize an app or whatever to where I can literally go on my contact list and check mark the people that, I want to upload to be made aware of this, or is it manual, or how does that work?
Right. So we don't have that functionality yet, but we are building that. So we're hoping that by the start of the new school year, pretty much everything has a significant upgrade, and that being one of the upgrades that we want to make, because the easier it is for people to upload contacts, the more likely they are to do it, and that means the more likely people are to raise money. So the way it is right now, we really have two different methods, one being to enter it one at a time. So that's, you put in the name, you put in the email, you hit submit. The other being that CSV file. So that's basically, you open up a Google sheet or an Excel spreadsheet. In the first column, you just put first and last name. In the second column, you put email address. And then you do file save as .csv. And then you upload that to the site.
Are they also getting an email that's kind of personalized from that individual, or is it just from the school or the club or whatever? So in other words, if little Johnny is the one whose mom is submitting some contact information, the people know little Johnny, they might not necessarily be tied to the school in any way. So are they getting an email that says, hey, Johnny recommended that we reach out and touch or contact you about the money that his school is needing for X, Y, or Z? How does that work?
So that depends on who's sending the email. So all team members have the ability to send out emails from Edco. If Johnny sends them out, then Johnny can personalize that message however he chooses. If the school is sending that out, that's a different story, right? But the idea being, it's kind of up to you. It's how you want to use it. So if I were running a school-wide fundraiser, I was in charge of the single page, right? In the example I gave before, what I might say is, you know what? It's just easier if I email everyone and don't leave it to the students. Don't do it that way, right? Another way to do it would say, here's a template. I'm sending this to all the kids, right? Let's say you're sending it to high school students, because I think it's a little bit much to expect a second grader to be able to navigate the email situation when they're, still really getting a handle on reading and so forth. So what you might do with high school students is say, okay, I've emailed every high school student a template, and every high school student has uploaded 10 or 20 contacts. Now it's their job to go in and email this template out to their people and their contacts, and put in one sentence at the beginning or two sentences at the beginning that personalize it and let people know this is not some mass email that's going out, right? Because at the end of the day, even if it is a mass email with a tiny little touch of personalization, the mass email is the information that people really need to know, right? It's, here's the link, click here to donate. This is what we're raising the money for. And then the personalization is to show, hey, I'm actually reaching out to you specifically and not just all people. So
is email right now the only platform? Is there any social media presence? Meaning, can little Johnny's mom, put it on her Facebook page, and all of the people that are her friends potentially have access to that, whether she has their email or not, or whether she thinks they might be somebody who would donate? They might have interest in supporting the cause for whatever reason, but wouldn't be on, top of mind for, hey, their email is one I need to upload.
Right. So like, let's say you have some high school friends that are on Facebook, but not in your top of mind email list, right? For potential donors. So yeah, we do have integration with Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And then we're looking to add more functionality to some of those integrations, as well as we want to add LinkedIn, because that's a great place to be trying to get some business acquaintances and partners to put some serious money down. Right. So with that functionality, there's basically single click sharing. So every donor, so there's two pieces, right? Anyone who's a team member or the fundraiser organizer can, with one click, it auto generates a Facebook post and you can add to it or just post as is. That's same for Facebook and Twitter. Facebook is by far the best place to be doing that because the post has a longer lifespan than something like Twitter, and B, and I guess I mean I don't think of myself this way, but I have to face facts that I'm entering an older demographic now, and so people who use Facebook are generally in an older demographic, and that's okay, and that's especially great for fundraising because the money is with older people, right? People that are well established and have the money to donate. So you absolutely want to be putting it on Facebook. And then as far as our Instagram integration goes, that's a little bit different. That's less to share your fundraiser and more to make your Edco fundraising page active and updated. So if you can link an Instagram account to your Edco page, and then anything you post to that Instagram account shows up on your Edco page in a live feed.
Speaking of the page, is it similar to like a GoFundMe or Kickstarter page where you can upload a video, you can give background on what you're doing, what you're trying to accomplish, why, that type of thing. So that explanation is there if people are just willing to go to the page itself?
Yeah, absolutely. So right now, the way it looks is there's a team photo with a description of the team. When you have an active fundraiser, there'll also be a photo for your fundraiser specifically, as well as a description of that fundraiser. And then, there are the standard things. There's the progress bar to goal, how many days are left in the campaign, how many supporters do you have. There's also suggested giving levels, and those are editable. So you can have, I think, up to 9 at this point, and then you can describe each one in 70 characters or less. So let's say you're trying to raise money for Chromebooks for your classroom. You can say, donate $250, that's the cost of one Chromebook, right? Or donate $1,000 and you buy us the cart that houses all the Chromebooks. And so that way, again, people know exactly what the money is going toward and the impact that their donation has. And then beyond that, the fundraiser organizer has the ability to post text, video, and photos to the feed, which get like pushed down as people donate, and your Instagram account is going crazy with all the thank you videos that you're posting and things like that. But what's also cool is the donors have the ability to attribute their donation to a specific team member. So now if, Johnny uploaded 10 contacts and sent out an email, those that donate can actually essentially tag Johnny in their donation and say, hey, I gave $100 because of Johnny. And I think that's pretty interesting for a number of reasons, depending on how you're organizing your fundraising and how what kinds of things you're interested in tracking. But over time, I suspect that some very, very interesting trends will crop up from being able to track that kind of information.
So of every $100, give us a breakdown. Obviously there's credit card are online processing fees. You guys have to make your money as well to stay in business. So give us a breakdown percentage wise approximately for that $100.
Sure, I can give it to you exactly. So we are not big on fees here. Primarily, our mission is to help K-12 schools and activities raise money. So we're not interested in kind of getting rich off the backs of students and teachers. So our fees are as follows. There are 2 fees and 2 fees only. There's the credit card transaction processing fee, which is 2.9% plus 30 cents per transaction. And then there's our service fee, which is 4.9%. So when you compare that to other platforms, we're much lower than almost all of them. I've heard of some platforms being as high as, let's say, 35%. And frankly, I mean, I think that's a little bit, I think there's like a moral and ethical dilemma that those companies have solved in a different way than Edco has, because frankly, I find that if you're interested in helping schools and helping kids, taking 1 out of every $3 that they're fundraising is not the way to go about doing it. So they handle it differently. But as far as difference in functionality, mostly what I see in that is that those ones that charge a huge percentage, it's more like set it and forget it. And with Edco, it's a little bit more hands-on, but the main difference is really sending emails. So if you want to save 25% of the money you're raising and you're willing to write a couple of emails and send them out, I think we're the right choice for you. But again, as far as fees go, just the service fee and the credit card transaction fee. If people pay by check, which businesses often do, of course, there's no credit card transaction fee on that. But just those 2 fees. So there's never a fee for requesting a disbursement of funds. You can request a disbursement. You can request 10 disbursements at $100 a piece if that's how you want your funds dispersed. Typically, we find that teams will want, I'd say 2 to 3 disbursements, let's say per fundraiser. And that could be for anything, right? If you're a robotics team and you have a fundraiser, the first $1,000 that you raise, you might need that for an impending registration fee. That's only 2 weeks away, even though your fundraiser's for 6 weeks. So you can request money before your fundraiser is finished. You can request money whether or not you reach your goal. Obviously, we want everyone to reach their goal, but once you've raised money on our platform, that money is yours. We want you to have it. So there's no penalties for not raising enough to reach your goal. And again, no fees for anything disbursement related.
So guys, once again, right around 92% is what the school or organization is keeping, give or take a few cents because of the per transaction fee. So there's a large percentage of the money that's being given is going back to the organization, which is a really, really big deal, because there are a lot of companies that do, take quite a bit more. And so the majority of it is staying with you. For those of you guys that know anything about credit card processing, that's a standard fee.
Yep.
Every business out there pays it. So that's exactly what that's going for, obviously, as well. So I love the fact that these guys are doing something that seems to have very little friction. And let's face it, it's the wave of the future. A lot of schools are kind of had enough with a lot of the more traditional ways of raising money. And this way, people can just give and write a check once or make a donation once, and then everybody potentially move on with their life. And the fact that the technology takes care of all that processing and everything. So little Johnny's not running around with a sheet that parents are filling out and then has to collect checks later or whatever. No, they just submit button like you would buying something online at Amazon or whatever, and that money goes to Edco, and they do their thing to divvy the money where it needs to go. And like Nathan said, they've got the ability to do the disbursements at any time based on what their needs are. Nathan, anything else you can think of that you'd like to leave with the audience before we kind of wrap things up?
Yeah, I think one thing that I want to mention, there's a couple pieces to this, but it's important to note that although we do have a social mission, we are a for-profit company. And you might be asking yourself, wait a second, I thought you said donations were tax deductible. How can that be if you're for-profit, right? And also, I just want to address something that you just said about how when the donation comes in, it goes to Edco. That's actually not accurate. What happens is we have a partnership with the Channel Education Foundation, which is a nonprofit, and they are the reason that donations on our platform are tax deductible. So when somebody donates, what happens is that money doesn't go to Edco. It goes to the Channel Education Foundation, and they hold on to it until a disbursement request is made. Once that request is made, Channel Ed sends that money to Edco. The fees are then assessed, and then the remaining is dispersed to the fundraiser organizer. And I actually should be careful when I say the fundraiser organizer, because I also think that one of the things that sets us apart from other fundraising platforms, particularly those not focused on K-12, is that we never, ever, ever are dispersing funds to an individual or to an individual's bank account. We never, ever do that. So like if you're wondering, gee, you know, I have a stack of stolen credit cards, what's going to stop me from creating a page on Edco, donating with these stolen credit cards, and then getting the money scot-free, you know, sans 7.8%. What's going to stop you is we don't disperse funds to individuals. So we can disperse funds either directly to a school via check or electronic deposit. And the other thing that we'll do is disperse funds to a 501c3 that's verified. And then in some cases, what we will do is we can disperse funds via a prepaid card, but that is a benefit that we only give to people that are members of partner organizations. So for example, we have a partnership with the National Speech and Debate Association. We also have a partnership with the REC Foundation, which if anyone's familiar with the robotics world, that's VEX Robotics. So if you have a VEX team or if you have a speech and debate team, then we can probably disperse funds via this prepaid card, which we track the spending on, and at any minute can put a stop payment on something. If we see a very suspicious one-way ticket to Tahiti, you know, then we can put a stop payment on that. But that's kind of how we operate, and you know, things are going really well. We're looking forward to a lot more growth, and we're really looking forward to this coming school year where we're going to have a lot of upgraded features and functionality, and just keep on rolling, keep on helping K-12.
Guys, as you know, that tax deductibility can be a very big deal for people too, because, you know, there's a lot of people that specifically give to change their tax situation or affect it.
Yep.
And giving to just a school does not fill that need, or that does not qualify. I believe if you're giving to like an educational foundation in a district, it does. But in most cases, the fundraising is done at the school level, not at the foundation level. So this is an opportunity for them to get that tax deductibility, and once again, over 92% of the money come back to you and your school. So really, really cool stuff. Nathan, give everybody a way that they can get in touch with you guys and find out more if they're interested.
Yeah.
We'll wrap things up.
Okay. So I am more than happy to talk to anybody on the phone. It's probably my favorite thing that I do. So give me a call. My direct line is 212-336-3828. And then you can also reach me via email at Nathan at ed.co. So NATHAN at ed.co.
So guys, just so you know, because a lot of us folks that are, 40 plus are used to .com, .net. There's a lot of, I'm drawing a blank for the word right now. There's a lot of
Domains?
extensions.
Yes.
Domain extensions available today, and .co is one of them. So it's ed.co is the entire web address. So very, very short, easy, and to the point. Nathan Spevack, thanks for being on thanks for being on the School Zone and sharing what you guys are up to there in Manhattan for schools all across the country. Appreciate you taking time out of your schedule to be here, man.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thanks for having me. Hopefully we can do this again maybe next year and see what's changed.
Yeah, sounds great, man. Good talking to you.
Yeah, thank you.
Hey, School Zone. Once again, thanks for listening. Really, really appreciate all that you do for the schools and kids that you are affiliated with. Also, just wanted to remind you, if you're looking to learn more about companies in addition to Edco, but want to learn more about school resource companies and some other fundraising options out there, check out our 2018 Best School Fundraising and Resource Companies Guide. You can download that for free at schoolzonepodcast.com. A great resource to give you some other options and to help simplify your search. And man, just excited about a few months off, as I'm sure you all are as well. But I know many of you are already in the process of thinking about and determining who and what you're going to do going into next year. So this content is just as relevant now as it is at any time during the year. Have a great rest of the week, and we'll be back next week.